The final battle rages on. We enter episode 14 of Cell Prime. Fu continues taking Kenoa's power for himself, but decides to do a fun little test. Why not grant some of this to Cell, to see how far he could truly go? Imagine him with a fraction of this power as well. This isn't meant to give him raw strength, no, rather give him her abilities. Unlike himself, Cell doesn't need the raw power from her. That all is going to Fu, but this boost from Fu should help Cell against Piccolo, if he even really needs the help, that is. Within Piccolo's mind, Moro's there, still weirdly conscious, a part of Piccolo, and he's fuming. He tries to take control, but he can't. Every bit of him, his entire essence, it's been absorbed, and he just lives there as a figment of Piccolo's imagination, essentially. Basically acting as a thought in Piccolo's head. He found it kind of strange that Piccolo never transformed either, and now that he's within Piccolo, he could actually see why that is. Piccolo's fully controlled his power. He doesn't need to transform anymore. This is something Cell's taken note of too, especially because now he's trying to read Piccolo's mind and can sense that Moro's in there, trapped away within Piccolo. He actually finds it kind of hilarious. That guy that gave him so much trouble before, he's essentially just a voice annoying Piccolo in his head now. That's all Moro's been reduced to. Well, looks like he can see which one of them is superior now. But he also finds it interesting to learn why Piccolo hasn't transformed. That's exactly what he's been trying to do, and of course, he has done it to some extent, controlling his full power and making it his constant state. He saw that before with that one God of Destruction Goku a while back. Cell no longer wants to use his Prime form, he wants to just be Cell Prime all the time. Manifesting his power 100% of the time with 100% efficiency, doing it as easily as breathing. And he's pretty intrigued to see that Piccolo's pulled it off, but that kinda makes sense. Back in Fu's battle, all of Bardock's crew is trapped, sealed away by one of Fu's powers, that same weird cube thing that he generated for Kenoa. But now he doesn't need to focus all of his power on her because he's drained enough strength from her, and he's growing significantly with it. Their fatal flaw was that they underestimated how strong and how smart Fu was, not to mention how versatile he is in his abilities. Had Kenoa held off Cell instead and Piccolo used his raw strength to fight Fu, they probably would have won actually. But he's glad it went this way. But he sees something pretty interesting. Allies are arriving. They have backup. A hole in the continuity opens. And not in a way like he does where he just creates a portal. No, there's two hands clawing their way through it, literally tearing it open physically. This interests him even more. Someone so powerful that they're just able to rip space-time by simply grabbing it, willing themselves into another continuity, even one that's powerfully sealed away like this one. But he's not too surprised to see who it is. It's Cooler, in his platinum form, beyond enraged now. Especially seeing his allies trapped away like this. He tells Fu that other Cooler he fought was a good distraction, but not a challenge at all. He would have been here a lot quicker if that Cooler hadn't adapted so much. But Fu fails to realize he has the power of the Big Getty Star as well, plus raw strength to back that up, even beyond that of Black Metal Cooler. And Fu does admit Cooler would probably cause some trouble, at least more than Bardock's crew here. It's a shame too because he thought Bardock and Zeno Bardock would do a lot more. Same for that Kakarot fellow as well. But it's not that they're not impressive, it's that Fu is just really impressive himself. But he does want to see what Cooler's made of, and Cooler proclaims he's going to stop all this nonsense. He's going to fix everything. He's going to bring back everyone that's been killed, everything that's been destroyed. All those people like Azir, that brother he never knew he had. Fu finds the sentimentality kind of cute, caring for someone who's not even from the same continuity. That's his driving factor? He'd never be driven by raw emotion like that, but it seems that at least lends Cooler strength. Cooler doesn't even know Azir. As far as Fu knows, Cooler joined the patrol really recently anyways, but it's still principle. None of that matters to Cooler. One of the cubes nearby breaks. While Fu was briefly distracted by Cooler, Ruta tried to communicate with the rest of her family. Guinea, Raditz, and both Bardocks played along. Everyone took what little strength they had left and tried to give it to Kakarot, and it was just enough for him to break through, sending him back into Ultra Instinct and breaking through Fu's seal. And then there's another slash in reality. This time someone cut through. That other Kakarot 2. Then two people warp in, not physically breaking through reality, but actually teleporting through. It's hitting Granola. Looks like everyone still has some fight in them, and they won their own respective battles. But then Fu feels a really impressive power enter. Hit and Granola each lift a finger up, each creating another portal next to them. And through each portal, two people enter, and it's the same people from each portal. A version of Goku and Gohan, ones that Cell actually fought before. They would have loved to bring Goten along too, but they fear he wasn't experienced enough for a battle like this one. And Fu sees what happened. He remembers Cell telling him about this. That one God of Destruction Goku he fought before, the one whose timeline split and created another version of him. Interestingly enough, the ones that perished, they came back somehow. And Cell never ended up losing the power he gained. Well, it makes sense. A God of Destruction, Super Dragon Balls, it shouldn't be too hard to do. Hayden and Granola apologized to the others. They did take a bit long because they were looking for other allies, and these guys seemed to be the best. They had some other allies in mind, but didn't have enough time to get all of them. Specifically other versions of Cell, one that turned good, one weird purple version of Cell, and other unique versions of him like that. Fu's elated. This is going to give him some really great data, especially with that Goku and Gohan as well as their variants alongside them. You know what? Maybe he could absorb power from them as well, and take every ability that's here. There might not be anything new anyways, but it's worth looking for extra data. But before he fights them, he does wonder how Cell's fight's going. So for a brief moment he leaves, taking the sealed Kenoa with him. He tells her to be proud though. She didn't lose because she's weak. Few is just really strong. She was a really fascinating opponent, and her abilities work well with Few. He's going to make great use of them. And she should take solace in the fact that she, as well as her crew, they gave him a fun time, but it seems round 2 is going to be even more fun. This is the main course. But Few doesn't fully leave this battle. No, he only splits off a fraction of himself to take Kenoa with him, just to check on Cell. 99.99% of his power, it's retaining the few that stays back. He decides they're going to have even more fun. He takes out a bunch of the sealed realities that he's captured. Different universes, continuities, timelines. And simply, he unleashes them all at once, throwing them all around him, with them merging together as well. A new chaotic continuity is born, overwriting the sealed one that they're in. As it enters a new phase, all of this is controlled by Few. It's like logic itself is gone here. On top of Few's raw power, he orchestrates everything in this continuity. Time, space, logic, physics, everything. This is an example of what he wants to achieve. Of course, he can only do it for this continuity that he's in, this artificial one that he made. But he wants to do this for every continuity as a whole. This is a good domain to start with, at least. Back in Cell's fight with Piccolo, Piccolo clearly has the upper hand now. Piccolo desires to fight like this in battle, using his true form, just as himself, not corrupted at all. When he gained that amazing power against Lord Slug so long ago, it felt like he wasn't himself anymore. And here, he retains that sense of self, but also the raw power that comes with that. He tries to even wish Cell away, and overwrite him, but Cell resisted. Piccolo seems to have his external wishes back, but he can't simply overwrite Cell, given how strong he is. Moro calls him an idiot from within his mind. That's not gonna work. Piccolo's definitely gonna have to try and get rid of that guy after this battle, but first, he has to kill Cell. He can't focus on that. But Cell's a bit confused too. How did he resist Piccolo's wishes like that? He starts to feel power flowing through him, and then he can see that separate version of Few with Kenoa sealed next to him. He has all of her power, and he buffs Cell on top of that. This is what he aimed to do, and he's really interested to see the results. Cell is something that can't simply be overwritten by wishes now. He transcends all of that. He's now a constant in everything, as is Piccolo, and as is Few. He briefly gives Cell a rundown of what power he just gave him. He says to use it wisely because he's got to go back to his own battle. And Cell thanks him. He wanted to just adapt to this fight himself, but you know what? He's not going to turn down this extra ability. What he feels now, he's not simply perfect anymore, and he's not in his prime either. Cell's currently at the peak of his power, as is Piccolo. Neither seem to be transformed. They're just in this constant state. Piccolo simply is his true self. We'll call this state of being true Piccolo. And as for Cell, he's something beyond perfect. This is the apex of his abilities. This is immaculate Cell. Piccolo attempts to use his wishes on Cell, but they don't affect him still. And his physical strength can do something, but of course, Cell has so many counters for it himself as well. Same goes for Piccolo too. It's two unstoppable forces, clashing with each other constantly, transcending time, space, everything. Cell tries to do that one thing Few did, using all of his stored continuities that he's been stockpiling. Of course, he can't really use them as well as Few, and he doesn't have as many as Few on him because he just wanted to fight with his own power. But he's able to draw out some power from each continuity, turning it into energy for himself, as well as trying to turn each individual one into an attack, launching a few at Piccolo. Some of them do some damage, but Piccolo quickly adapts. Not just guarding against them, but also returning them back to their normal continuities, once more displaying his true power to Cell. Notice how easily he's able to just reverse everything, put everything back to normal? Killing Cell will definitely be a hurdle, but once he overcomes that hurdle, he takes solace in the fact that he's going to be able to restore everything. He even attempts to use a wish on Few, even though he's not in the same continuity at the moment. But Cell's able to counter that as well, not that he might even need to. Few definitely seems like he's on the level to handle this as well. With complete control over every force of nature essentially, including his own access to magic of course, he can counter Piccolo's magic. But it's strange. Piccolo notes that he's not using magic on the level he is. Of course, Piccolo's magic is unlike anything he's ever seen. But Cell has taken some notes from Few, and of course his own creator, Dr. Gero. Science was what created him after all, the ultimate life form. So, he could use that to conquer anything. The immaculate life form born from science versus the magical Namekian savior of everything. Once more, Piccolo gets that weird feeling of realizing how big this battle is in scale. Honestly, he just wants to go back home, and he'll be sure to get there again. Not that he isn't glad to be here fighting like this, but he kinda yearns for that old lifestyle he had. Amidst Few's battle, he actually is having a bit of trouble. He was right to try and distract everyone else with their own continuities beforehand, because if they all fought him at once before, he would have lost right off the bat. Another member of the patrol then enters. Takamasu returns, watching on from a distance and trying to free Kenoa, as well as all of the others. Few's not focused on them at the moment, and he can't divide his attention or power in order to do that. Not that it matters though. He has all of Kenoa's power, so her being freed from that seal doesn't faze him. Same for Bardock's family as well. Once Takamasu accomplishes this, he confronts Few, not to fight, but to ask what his endgame is here. They still really don't know, and he feels like everyone should get that answer before they kill him because who knows what he's going to do after the fact even if he does die. Maybe there's some backup plan, maybe there's something else. and few surprised they don't realize it by now. Time, space, magic, every other element of nature, they're all pieces of something larger, something beyond continuities, something that writes them. He and Kenoa have ascended normal beings, same for Cell and Piccolo, but specifically him and Kenoa considering how rare they are in continuities. They're opposite forces looking to control continuities in their own ways. Kenoa and her crew, they want order. But where's the fun in that? Where's the progress? Few could become the greatest mind ever, and write a reality for every individual, one where they could choose their own destiny. He could bring about a new order, and obtain limitless knowledge on top of that. He knows Kakamasu has his own doubts about the patrol, doesn't he? But Kakamasu snaps back. That's not him anymore. He's fully devoted to the patrol's methods again. As the Supreme Kai of Time in his own continuity, he knows the importance of this. They only disagreed about their methods, not about the end goal. But then Few points over to one of those God of Destruction Gokus. You see that? That's an example of what he means. That alternate Goku and Gohan, they shouldn't be here. They're anomalies. So many of the conflicts that the patrol's involved in, they cause anomalies like this, even if they're not directly involved. The same goes for their enemies too, like Cell Prime. Few then holds two hands out towards them, trying to summon all of the power he can. He does something strange. The two Gokus and Gohans then merge together. Not in the sense that they're fusing, but their essences combined. Look how easily Few could fix anomalies like this. He just combined their two timelines together, making it like one never happened. It's not like he destroyed them. He simply restored order, combining the two continuities together, rectifying the one that shouldn't have existed before. The Goku and Gohan there, of course, are confused beyond all belief. And Goku asks who gives him the right to even do that. He's the god of destruction of his own domain, so what's wrong with him allowing that other timeline to exist? Few says no one gave him that authority. He doesn't need approval either. This is his own will, and he's simply acting upon that. This is what Kenoa's power could do when used properly. He could fix all of these anomalies. He snaps his fingers. Kakamasu then separates back into Kakarot and Zamasu. This is simply an example to all of them. None of them are threats to him. Look how easily he's stopping everything here. But at the same time, they should realize he doesn't want destruction. Otherwise, he would have killed them all on the spot. He had multiple ways of going about this. Besides, even if they do end up killing him, which seems almost impossible, what are they going to do when they encounter Cell? Few has really big plans with Cell too, after all. They could fight him once he kills Piccolo. God of Destruction Goku, his version of Gohan, Kakarot 2, Cooler, Supreme Kai of Time Kakarot, and Supreme Kai of Time Zamasu fight together. With Kakarot 1 protecting his family, making sure that they don't get caught in any of this. They've all been heavily weakened. The God of Destruction Goku laughs a bit too. Seeing two other versions of himself is pretty interesting, especially with one being a Supreme Kai of sorts. He does hope they're strong though. As Kakarot 1 looks on, he realizes, this is the Goku that everyone's been mentioning this entire time. He knows there's so many variants of him, but this guy seems like the strongest of them. Definitely above him at least. Supreme Kai of Time Kakarot's a bit weirded out too because he hasn't been back to himself for so long. This is the first time he's him again. But he's excited as well. He knows that he's definitely not the strongest version of himself, but still, fighting alongside variants of himself will be really fun. But Kakarot 2 is thinking of something a little bit different here. This is the one who started evil and eventually became somewhat of a good guy. He's went down such a different path compared to all the other Gokus and Kakarots out there. And he says he surpassed a God of Destruction long ago, which makes him even more curious to see what God of Destruction Goku is capable of. That weird furry Ultra Instinct form, it does seem pretty interesting. As much as he hates to admit it, that Goku's definitely above him. But he can at least showcase his own new power too and really put it to the test, as he transforms into his Supreme God form, summoning the power of Ultra Instinct while in this as well. Cooler is astounded by all of this too. Goku was the guy that changed his life, and none of these are the Goku that he knows. They're all completely different in their own ways. But seeing so many versions of his good friend and someone who's essentially his idol, it makes him confident. He knows he has good allies alongside him. Hitting Granola's step up too, with the separated Supreme Kai of Time Zamasu eyeing them down. Normally he wouldn't like mortals controlling time like that. What? Is he seriously going to do this now? But Zamasu smiles. He's just joking. It's unfortunate that he can't really help in this fight here, but he wishes them all the best. And he turns to Kenoa, apologizing for the fallout before. He never formally did apologize, especially when he went rogue. He knows that was mostly his influence on Kakamasu. Kenoa appreciates it, but she knew they always share the same motives. She's glad to see how much her patrol has grown. She knows they'll win here, and she can't wait to see what they do next. As the battle with Few enters its final phase, the same goes for Piccolo and Cell's battle. As we get closer to the finale of the series, we end this part here. What'd you guys think about this part and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps out the channel a lot. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.